That's this definition. He has all the great-making characteristics, none of the corrupting characteristics. It's better to exist than not to exist. We would all agree with that. We'd go off ourselves right now if we disagreed with that. Therefore, God exists. That's it. That's the argument. And Bertrand Russell, a great logician, atheist, famously threw his tin of tobacco in the air. He would have had Alps if it had been around at the time. He famously threw his Alps, or his tobacco in the air. He said, by golly, the ontological argument is sound. It's easier to think there's a flaw in the argument than to actually point out the flaw. And I said, well, darn, I can't refute that. Then I read Lewis, C.S. Lewis.
So who is this person who said that to you?
This is my roommate, actually.
Whatever happened to him?
Oh, he's my best friend.
Still?
To this day, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, very, very close.
And he's a Christian?
Yeah. And he was a cradle Catholic, raised kind of megachurch Protestant, and then he reverted to the church. He was confirmed in the church later on. And, but he and I and some other people were kind of going through this together, so I would say 18 to 23, I was really dragging my feet. I said, C.S. Lewis makes good arguments. Chesterton makes good arguments. Maybe I should read the Bible at some point. That might be smart. I'll do that later. And I'm going through, I finally, seriously read the Bible at 23. I said, this is true. This is right. First you have to accept that God exists. Then you say, okay, well, is Jesus who he says he is? If he's not, that's going to lead me in one direction. If he does, it's going to lead me in another direction. Then you have to ask yourself, well, is the church, what kind of church did he establish? That's going to lead, and there were plenty of Protestants along the way who were really helpful in my return and thinking. So, it was very helpful this whole period. But I took the long road. I took the long route. I could have just, Norm Macdonald, the comedian.
Of course,
greatest comedian probably ever. I didn't know him really, but he and I, we would write each other long letters on Twitter DMs for weeks. This is the strangest thing, because I saw he was following me on Twitter, and he wasn't following a lot of people, and I was a huge fan of his, so I didn't even want to message him. And one time he sent out a tweet, and it sounded kind of despairing. Now we know he was dying of cancer.
Very sick, yeah.
I thought he was suicidal or something. I just sent him a note. I said, I feel bad if I didn't. I said, hey, Norm, huge fan of yours. If I can be of any help, I don't know that I can, but I'd be happy to. And we started writing each other these letters. And
really?
Yeah, for weeks, every night, just for weeks, long essays, really.
To Norm Macdonald on Twitter DM.
It's weird. This is one of the strangers. Great. Every night. And he would do this thing where he'd say, Michael, I can't do a great Norm. He'd say, it would be prideful for me not to take you up on your offer. Because, Michael, I'm not an educated man. You're an educated man. I have an undergraduate degree. I'm not an educated man. I didn't really go to college. And then he would do this thing where he'd make it seem like he's just some old chunk of coal. And then he'd use a word that I didn't know. He was certainly much better read than I am and loved the Russian novelists. And we were talking about religion basically the whole time. And he said to me, I still don't know the particulars of all of his religious views, but he said, for me, I told him how I converted or reverted. And he said, for me, I've just always known the Bible's true. I just always knew. I'd read it and I just knew. So anyway, that's it. And I thought, well, that's the better way. It's like Christ to Thomas the Apostle. He says, blessed are you've seen and believed, but blessed are those who have not seen and yet believed. And,
yes.
And that was Norm. And yeah, that's another example too, of you think, okay, the whole culture and all these smart people are atheists. Norm is one of the smartest pop culture figures that's been around for decades. Yeah. Yes. But he knew. And it's just like, everyone kind of knows deep down.
Everyone kind of knows. That's totally right.
Yeah.
And that's why they're mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
People feel judged.
They feel judged.
I never feel judged by like the earth is flat people. I don't think the earth is flat, but it doesn't bother me that you do. You know what I mean?
I get a kick out of it. I'll go down the
yeah,
Wikipedia.
whatever. It's not a threat. I don't, because I know in my heart it's probably not flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
the ancient Greeks
No, I remember thinking that even in early high school with the question of abortion, and people just get hysterical about it, like hysterical. How dare you judge me? And all this. It's like, whoa, I wasn't even really judging you, but like clearly you're judging yourself.
Yeah,
because that you took a life, and there are all kinds of extenuating circumstances. I get it, but in the end, you killed the kid,
and that's how
that you did.
The devil gets you this way because he says, before you commit the sin, he says, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's nothing. It's a clump of cells. It's nothing. It's your freedom. It's your body. It's your choice. Come on. It's no big deal. You're not going to feel bad about it. You just got to do it. And then you do it. And then 1 second later, he's in your ear. He says, you'll never be forgiven. You can never admit this is wrong. The second you do, you are damned walking the earth. You are done. You're done. And I think that explains a lot of modern behavior.
It's totally right. It's totally right. If you ever watched a Shout Your Abortion event, which are always like weirdly fascinating to me, and I always feel so bad for the girls because they never really can muster enthusiasm for the abortions they had and you can see it right in their faces. It's like, oh, I feel so sorry for them. Can you imagine?
Well, this, to make it fully religious, Peter Kraft made this observation that even the language of the abortion, this is my body, is a satanic inversion of the Eucharist. This is my body.
But everybody know. I guess it's I'm just tying to the Norm Macdonald observation, which is, gosh, the truest thing. You read it and you're like, oh, wow, that's true. Even that was certainly my experience in reading it. Even things I was like, I don't like that, but I still thought that's true.
Yes.
100% true.
And so, you all know, because everyone does have a conscience, even if it's darkened by sin and a little bit, and I don't know, drugs and porn and, like dumb classes
Mine was
in school.
Shiny like stainless steel, but yes, I can imagine there are others who had darkened consciences.
Yes, but you all kind of know. And then the other impulse, which is centuries in the making. Well, it really goes back to the fall, but especially politically with liberalism, is this notion that we are really to be gods. Ultimately, we are in control. Yeah. No gods and no kings, only men, and we decide. And
so I never fell for that. That's so obvious.
I fell
bullshit.
for it. I totally fell for it.
Really?
Yes.
Then I never thought that was, for all my many problems and lies I believed and lies I've unwittingly repeated and all my many sins, I never bought the we're gods thing because we can't extend our lives, really. And if you can't do that, then you have no power.
Tucker, you clearly don't read the news. We're on the brink. We're this close to curing death. I see it every day in the headlines. They've been trying it since Pharaoh, but they're this close now, don't you know?
It's like salmon farming. Salmon farming is my favorite idea because it was something I just thought, because I obviously love to catch salmon. I'm a fisherman.
Yeah.
I love Atlantic salmon fishing. It's hard to catch them. There aren't that many of them. And so the idea was people love to eat salmon. Let's just have a salmon farm. Out there, just make a giant net, just breed them right there in the ocean. Like there's no downside. It cures the problem.
Yeah. And
salmon farms have basically destroyed wild salmon, both through the pollution and for crossbreeding with the salmon, and they don't spawn. And we're in danger of like losing.
We don't spawn either, by the way.
No, exactly. No, but we're like in danger of losing Atlantic salmon as a species because of salmon farming. People are just starting to figure this out. But it's like, it's a species of the same lie.
Yes.
Like, I'm in control of nature. Oh shit, we'll just salmon farm. Like, duh. You know what I mean? We'll just, whatever it is.
I mean, we have done that. We have now exercised increasing control over how we spawn through contraception.
Well, that's exactly right.
Now we're in control now. This is going to lead to flourishing. We're going to die off. I mean, we have a global population collapse on the horizon.
So if you ended up like extending human life to 150 years, like the last 80 years of the life would just be like living hell. Do you know what I mean? I mean, for one thing, I've always thought, this is like one insight I did have when I was young, which is the problem with getting old is not like bladder control and it's not even dementia. It's instead, it's remembering your youth and how much has changed. And it's the burden of the past becomes unbearable. And any old person will tell you this in their moments of lucid thought. They'll tell you like, I can't believe how fast it went. And they're crushed by that.
Yeah.
So imagine living to 150.
And think about when they're all promising this. And there are people on the right who are really into this too, radical life extension. All this. And they say, Michael, if you could take the pill to live for 500 years, would you do it? I said, not a chance.
Dude, I won't take an Advil. Like, pills are bad. Okay, let's just start there. Pills are bad. Anyone who wants you to take a pill, fuck off. Okay, that's how I feel.
Yes.
So I strongly feel that way. But why would you want to live to 150?
Of course, and this is the understanding. I mean, the curse, when we fall out of the garden is that we die. But is that really a curse? If you live in a world that's fallen, it's full of like murder, rape, and I don't think it's actually a great mercy. So
it depends what you think happens next, I guess.
Yes, that's true. And people are, I think, also increasingly aware that something might happen next. They're kind of clinging on to this hope that, well, I hope this is all there is, and I just turn to worm food and take a dirt nap.